morning, everyone. I'd like to start by thanking a few people who have joined us for this morning's announcement. Dottie Grover Skipper of the Salvation Army and Heart Dance Foundation, and Laura Hamilton of Bridge and Freedom. Two individuals who are tremendous advocates for victims of human trafficking and partners in our mission to educate the community about this terrible and inexcusable practice. Thank you both for all your efforts. I also want to recognize Special Agent James Sparrow of the Homeland Security Investigation, who partnered with the Sheriff's Office on a couple of these arrests and investigations that you will hear about here in just a few moments. In our efforts to continue to combat human trafficking in the Tampa Bay area, I'm proud to announce the completion of another 5-month-long undercover investigation that has led to the arrest of 104 people that you see displayed to the right of me today. The video you'll see playing next to me is a snippet of the undercover video from the operation recorded just 2 weeks ago. To reflect our continued efforts, we have dubbed this operation Operation Trade Secrets 2. You may recall our previous operation from January to June of this year, where we arrested 85 individuals during the course of that investigation. Like any business, the human trafficking industry boils down to supply and demand. I strongly believe that in order to eradicate human trafficking, we must continue to focus on reducing the demand. People who profit from trafficking women and children, along with those who pay to engage in this awful trade, must always be held accountable. For that reason, you will notice that this operation focused even more on the buyers. Out of the 104 people arrested during this operation, 76 of them were men purchasing sex, and only 28 are women who engaged in this sex trade. Our success continues to come from focusing on websites and forums that are known for soliciting sex, along with targeting strip clubs, massage parlors, and motels. We also conducted undercover operations, putting female detectives on the streets posing as prostitutes, and male detectives posing as Johns, a common name for buyers. I want to take a moment to highlight just a few of the more despicable arrests. On June 21st, Jason Fitzgerald, who was 36 years of age, and Louis Colon, who is 29, met with an undercover detective who posed as a stepfather of a 14-year-old young girl. These men believe our undercover detective was selling his daughter for sex. They arranged a time for them to meet up with the 14-year-old to perform acts that are so repulsive that I won't even begin to describe them. Fitzgerald and Colon showed up at a trailer park in North Tampa. They began negotiating a price to have sex with the child. When they were told they could have their pick having sex with a 14-year-old or a 13-year-old girl who was also inside the trailer, they quickly jumped at the chance to be with the even younger child. Predators like this do not belong on the streets in Hillsborough County. Thanks to our partnership with Homeland Security Investigations, we were able to arrest both of these men on human trafficking charges. I want to also introduce you to 29-year-old Stephen Cook. On July 30th, our undercover detectives met Cook when he brought 2 women to a nearby hotel to have sex. He organized the sex exchange. Some would call him a pimp. One of the women told him she was in pain from a medical-related issue. But she says he forced her to meet up and have sex with men anyway. Cook, who is also a Latin King gang member, is now facing a human trafficking charge. As we get closer to major events in Tampa in the upcoming year, like Super Bowl, WrestleMania, and even the Final Four, we want to make it clear that human trafficking will not be tolerated in Hillsborough County. Our goal is to end human trafficking before it even starts. There will always be demand for human trafficking unless people learn that purchasing another human being for sex is wrong, is never consensual, and is a sure way to land yourself in jail in this county. At this time, myself, along with the 3 individuals behind me, are available for any questions anyone may have. Did that good of a job, huh?
What's the reason why these type of incidents tend to increase when there's a major event in town? Is it because there are simply more people in the area?
Simply more people in the area, so it goes back to that supply and demand. The demand goes up. People are traveling, those types of numbers of people traveling to the Tampa Bay area. I think that the Tampa Bay area already has this negative stigma, being the strip club capital of the world, and there's too many individuals that believe, oh, because of all the strip clubs, there's this free sex trade that occurs here in the Tampa Bay area, and that's why we wanted to be so proactive and make sure that we send a message loud and clear, leading all the way up to these special events, during and even after, that human trafficking and any type of sex trade will not be tolerated in the Tampa Bay area.
Sheriff, is Mr. Cook the only human trafficking charge, or was there others?
The true human trafficking charge right now at this point, and we're still debriefing some of the prostitutes, for lack of a better word, that we have, working with great organizations that you see represented here behind me. We will meet, we actually send counselors into the jail to talk to the 28 women to see if we can get them to be brave and bold enough to break this cycle and choose another way of life. And that's why I think you'll see the 2 organizations behind me. I can't say enough, because that's the life rope. That's the lifesaver for these women when they decide, hey, listen, I'm ready to break that cycle. These are the individuals that step up and make sure that they help give them every resource, every tool available to actually break this cycle.
Why is it so difficult for some of these women to trust law enforcement, to trust people to help them?
And that's a great question, because as dysfunctional as this type of behavior is, these women being trafficked, they know that the individuals trafficking them are the only people they know that they can depend on, whether it's to feed that addiction, whether it's clothing, food, a little bit of money that they're provided. They know, as dysfunctional as this relationship is, it's the one person they can depend on. And that's why it makes it so difficult for law enforcement to gain these individuals' trust. Matter of fact, we were almost deemed unsuccessful until we teamed up with organizations like the 2 represented and created, who wasn't able to be here today, to meet with these individuals, show them all the resources they have available. They even employ people who used to be engaged in the sex trade that can build that relationship and encourage these individuals to again, break this cycle of just poor behavior.
Are the majority of these arrests, are they happening in like hotels? Are they in, you mentioned trailer park or something like people's homes? Where are a lot of these things happening?
All over. I think that's the Special Investigations Division does such a wonderful job, because we wanted to make sure we covered everywhere. So they're in the massage parlors, they're in the strip clubs, they're in the motels, they're out in the streets where it's this open, free sex trade. We focus our efforts on the forums, the websites, and all these other avenues to make sure that we cover it all. This isn't a simple problem. It's a complex problem, so you have to have a multi-pronged, complex approach solution to try to combat human trafficking.
Any more questions? All right, thank you all for coming.
Thank you, everyone.